Good evening, everybody. How's everybody doing tonight? Good. We're going to get this started, but you can keep mingling a little bit, have food. We're keeping this a little more casual this year, more of a mixer style, so thank you again for coming tonight. My name is Joe Cena, the President and CEO of the Glendora Chamber of Commerce, and I welcome you here to the 2026 Glendora State of the City. The Chamber is proud to partner with the City of Glendora to put on this event each year. Each year it changes a little bit where we add more, like this year we have the booths you see around the room, and where a lot of great information from the people out there doing the work. You can answer the questions or ask the questions directly. Tonight's event brings the community together to reflect on the city's progress, highlight key initiatives, and celebrate the collaborations that make Glendora a great place to live and work. In a moment, you're going to hear from our mayor, David Fredendall, to give a keynote. And then after that, we're going to bring up a panel of our directors and managers that work at the city, to where you all should have got cards, like question cards. So if you have those, they're going to answer those questions. But if you have them, raise your hand, and the city staff will come collect them. Okay? Now we also have a list of sponsors that help make this event possible. At our presenting sponsor level, we have Athens Services, Trans Tech, and Alshire Winder. I know Danny's back there. And then at our silver level, we have JM Diaz Inc., Mariposa, SDI, West Coast Arborist, TKE, the BR Companies, and CSG Consultants. Thank you very much. And then at bronze level, we have ServPro, Foothill Credit Union. I know I saw that here somewhere. Let's see, PCI, the Glendora Public Library Friends Foundation, JAGS, JD Cigio Construction, sorry, Wilden, and SoCal Gas. And again, a big thank you to all of our sponsors who help us put this event on. Now at this time, I'd like to introduce our mayor, because he's the one you came here to hear from, right? Mayor David Fredendall was elected to City Council in 2020, but he's called Glendora home since 1986, and proudly represents the 6th generation of his family to live in this city, with roots tracing back to the 1870s. He looks pretty good, 1870s. He and his wife, Maria, also here, welcome, raised their son here, supported education through our local schools. His commitment to Glendora's heritage also includes his role as president and trustee of the Fairmont Pioneer Cemetery Foundation, where he oversees the preservation of the property and as one of the city's cherished landmarks. Now I could be up here for another half hour listing everything Mayor Fredendall does, but with that, please welcome Mayor David Fredendall.
Out there. Good evening, Glendora. It is my honor to stand before you and deliver the 2026 State of the City Address. To our residents, our business owners, our community partners, and our dedicated city staff, thank you. Thank you for your trust, your investment, and your love for this community that we all call home. I certainly want to thank the Glendora Chamber of Commerce for their ever-supporting partnership with the city, and recognize that the President and CEO, Joe Cena, and team members Auburn and Stephanie for their stewardship in leading the Glendora Business Association. Thank you also, let's give a big hand to the Chamber. And thank you also to the community partners that were recognized just a moment ago as supporting sponsors of this event. Without you, this event wouldn't be as successful, but more important, without you, the community would not have the partnerships, the services to the public that we enjoy, and we certainly have, in my opinion, the finest of the service opportunities. So thank you for all of those. I realize that while I am the face of the evening, I do not stand here alone. And I stand here with an amazing council of members, including Mayor Pro Tem Karen Davis, which we met earlier, council members Mendel Thompson, Michael Alawas, and Shauna Elias. The council is backed up by strong work and an amazing leadership team led by City Manager Adam Raymond, Assistant City Manager Moises Lopez, Deputy City Manager Marie Rishi, and our City Attorney Danny Aylshire from the firm Aylshire and Winder. They are our legal firm of choice and have more than 50 years of municipal legal work with governments and cities. This team has assembled an incredibly talented and capable team of directors. Many are in the booths and the information centers surrounding the room, and they bring with them assistant directors, supervisors, analysts, and team members, technicians that make Glendora run. And most of us have no idea. We turn the faucet, we expect tasteful or untasteful, clear stuff to come out, called water. We do the other end of the business, we expect things to leave. We expect our trash to go. We expect the streets to be good. We'll talk about those in a minute. This is the team that makes it happen. It's not myself and the council. We offer guidance and policy and some of the difficult decisions, but the hard part is the staff having to make it all happen. And we certainly have an incredible staff. So if we can get a big hand for them, please. After this short speech, I hope that you'll take advantage and continue your networking and certainly go visit the different departments. There's some amazing information there and a lot of, I did not know that. So go see it and check it out. For tonight's work, I wish to extend a huge thanks to our communications team, the materials, the theme, the presentation, and that's a huge credit to Greg, Craig, Lindsay, Ryan, and Megan, and certainly everybody has a boss, including the city manager, and you think it's our executive assistant, Rose. She keeps us afloat and has us all working and does a great job. Thank you, Rose. Tonight I'd like to talk to you about three things: where we're going, what your tax dollars are doing right now, and the generational investments we are making together. Investments that will define Glendora for decades to come. The state of Glendora is strong, and we are just getting started. Part one, a city with a plan. Great cities do not happen by accident. They are built deliberately, strategically, and with a long view. In April of 2025, your City Council unanimously adopted a 2025 to 2027 strategic plan, a bold two-year roadmap built around 5 goals that reflect who we are and who we want to become. Goals of this plan include suburban living, fostering international growth through targeted housing density, revitalized commercial corridors, and the services and infrastructure that make Glendora a livable community for all of us. The second goal, Glendora as a destination, attracting visitors, promoting local businesses, and connecting our community's best assets. I strive to create Glendora as a destination, a locale that people come to on purpose. They want to come here. I'm working to create that presentation of being a great vision, a first impression. I want our residents and guests to say, wow, did you see that? People say, what did I see? It's what you didn't see. I don't want to see grunge. I don't want to see sidewalks littered. I don't want to see unpermitted, non-compliant businesses taken away from our partner businesses. Nothing wrong with sidewalk business. Let's do it correct. And we have rules in place, so we're looking to help complete that. I see clean, attractive gateways, forward-facing vision that represents a unique quality of life that is Glendora. We're not fully there yet. However, we're closing in on this, and we will be the place to stop the car, get off the train, and come see on purpose. Next item, new and revitalized facilities. Building and improving the civic spaces where our community gathers, learns, and grows. A sustainable infrastructure, investing in our streets, our trails, our water systems, and traffic safety. As of February 2026, we have already completed 39% of the strategic plan's indicators. That's up from 22% just a few months ago. Another 53% of those strategic goals are actively in progress. We are moving fast, and we're moving with a purpose. One of the most exciting pieces of this plan is the upcoming general plan update. A request for a proposal for a consultant to help guide this process is out right now. It was just released. And that general plan is to help us guide for the next generation, 30 plus years. Where's Glendora going to be? The last general plan was done in about 2000, and it was titled the Plan 2025. So we're pretty much at the end of that plan. We achieved much of it. We have more planning to do and modification and adaptation to bring us into what we need for the next generation. So we're getting there. And for those of you who ride, walk, or commute, the A line is open. Yes, we have a new train. Historically, it's the third time the train's come to town. I've said this a couple of times. So don't think, oh, the train's coming. It's coming again. And the third time, and it's here. It opened in September of 2025, and it's growing. It's becoming a wonderful opportunity. And to serve that, we are building the first and last mile connections, trails, bike lanes, pedestrian improvements that will make the station truly a gateway for the city. So I encourage you, ride the train, tell your friends, let's ride the train and let's get off in Glendora. Next part is your tax dollars. Ooh, ugly term. The tax dollars at work. Let me be direct when I tell you that sales tax is a very difficult discussion. In Glendora, our sales tax rate, as many of you know, is 10.75%. However, only 2% of that stays here in Glendora. Yes, some of the balance of the 8.75% that's left behind comes back to us in small pieces after the state and the county have their way with it and deem what might be left in some form of services. But 2% of it, the voters of Glendora supported in the measures E and Z. And they reinforced that, and we've been honored that the commitment of the community every day that we enjoy that. Measure E and Measure Z dollars are funding the community impact team, our dedicated police officers, led by Chief Randazzo and Captains Gold and Stabio, to daily address homelessness, crime trends, community quality of life issues. Those measures are funding our school resource officers who are present and mentoring students at the Glendora High School, Whitcomb High School, and our middle schools every day. They become the students' partners to help guide them to make the right choices when the difficult choices are in their face. The school resource officers are very popular and valuable to Glendora. So thank you, Chief and team, for supporting that. Those measures are also funding our crime analyst, who gives us the state-driven intelligence to deploy resources where they matter the most. And they are funding dispatch upgrades, emergency preparedness, traffic safety programs that protect every resident that is unique to Glendora, a community-based policing model that is the level of service that we have come to expect and is very successfully delivered. We cannot contract that level of service. We own it, we must own it, we do, and the results speak for themselves. Through our coordinated outreach, combining our police department's community impact team, our recreation and human services staff, and our partners at LA CADA, we have reduced the unsheltered homeless population in Glendora from 113 individuals in 2021 to 64 in 2025, and that's a reduction of 43%. Without having official results to share, I'll unofficially tell you, I believe our client number in 2026 is 43. That's a remarkable effort by folks that are passionate to go out every day and try to help lives change and make a difference. This is very real, people. Our neighbors are connecting to housing, services, and a path forward. I call that success. Now let's talk about streets. It's one of our favorite topics, I believe. I think we all know that there's a pothole here and there. There's an alligator back somewhere here and there. It may not look as pretty as this rug does everywhere in town. But do you realize that we have 161 miles of streets in Glendora and 6 miles of alleyways? That's not factoring lanes. That's not lane miles. That's just curb to curb, end to end number of miles. Another fun fact, that equates to 30.6 million square feet of asphalt and another 600,000 square feet of asphalt in our alleyways. That's a lot of surface. In 2025, the city treated over 1 million square feet of pavement through our citywide slurry seal program, which consisted of approximately 50 segments of streets, improving and extending the lives of our roads. Those efforts continue. The upcoming Colorado Avenue area, Cypress Avenue, Glendora Avenue, and Lone Hill water and street improvement projects will address critical infrastructure that needs and deliver close to another 1 million square feet of pavement, new pavement, in 2026. But I know you're all going to say, yeah, but not my street. Well, sadly, it's taking time. It will take time, and we can't do it all at one point. And just to give you a reference, there's been a survey done by our Public Works group, and they've looked at to do what I would call the short distance from Barranca in the west to Amelia in the east and resurface Route 66. would only be $8 million. $8 million for that stretch. Wow. So it's not inexpensive. We have a pavement condition index, and the perfect index is 100. Our city's overall street rating is at 63. The council has made a strategic commitment to get that to 70 in 7 years, and hope that we can do that. To get there, we're actively looking for an additional $3.5 million a year on top of what we already have committed to streets to achieve that in 7 years. That's a big number. So we're continuing to look at ongoing one-time funding opportunities, grants, anything we can do to come up with revenue to fill that gap, to help speed up that acceleration of getting us to a gap of, or an index of 70. And I don't know where you went to school, but 70 is still only a C rate, right? A C grade? Wow, it's not easy. I still go back to my grandparents and great-grandfather riding horses through Glendora in the early 1900s. Wonder what their pavement looked like. I think dirt. We're working on it. We're looking for every smart financial tool we can that's available to us because our streets deserve better, and we are committed to delivering for you. A great example of this grant work came to us just in the past week. The United States Housing and Urban Development Division granted us, it's an annual grant that we get, fortunately because our team goes after it and works hard to get that. We got $290,650 designated for our Community Development Block Grant to apply to housing assistance, community improvement projects in qualifying neighborhoods within Glendora. This money enables us to do street improvements, sidewalks, ADA compliant corners and curbs, and address conditions that'll cover many areas in our street. So another great work from our community development team. So thank you, team. Our third part is reinvesting in the places that matter. When we invest in our facilities, we are investing in more than just buildings. We're investing in our property values in town. We're investing in the long-term service capacity of the city. We're investing in the places where Glendora's history is written every day. We cannot just upgrade these service capacities to meet today's needs. We need to look forward and plan for those needs as well, so we're not doing it again in just a few years. Band-Aids don't work any longer. Again, we're looking for our future generations. That's why we're looking to make improvements to our police department station, our Lefetra Community Center, the American Legion building, the Scout Hut, the Crowther Teen Center where we are today, and our parks. Nobody would guess, and I had to look at the date stamp, this building's 26 years old. Looks pretty good for 26, but like anything, our homes at 26, they need some attention, they need some love, so we're looking to do that. This is where senior centers, where our seniors gather, where our youth find their footing in the parks, and where veterans are offered and honored, and communities come together. We all deserve our investment, and they're getting it. Part 4, our rebuilding era. Glendora is in the middle of a rebuilding era, and the numbers are staggering. We're talking about $37.6 million in city-led capital improvement, part of an estimated $56 million in total investment across multiple projects currently in design or moving toward construction. Let me talk you through some of these and see what's happening. Our Lone Hill Avenue rehabilitation from Route 66 to Auto Center Drive, $2 million. That project is out to bid right now. Finkbeiner Park Stormwater Capture Program. Yes, the state and the county say we have to capture our stormwater, that little creek that goes through Finkbeiner Park, and clean it up, let some of it percolate. If it overflows, here's the part that gets me, reintroduce it back into that same storm drain to go 500 yards down the street and maybe be dirty again. But we cleaned it up, and we're going to try to save and reutilize as much as possible. It'll improve our water quality. It supports our MS4, which is state-mandated permits, and keep us compliant. It'll make us more resilient in the face of drought and climate change. That project is in design with construction targeted to begin in 2027, and the end result is we'll have a better park, improved fields for our youth, courts, and better facilities. So a huge win. That's $18.4 million that is planned. Fortunately, that's allocated through our Measure W county tax funds for water services. But again, a huge number. We have another water issue. It's called our North Glendora Avenue Water Reservoir. We need to replace it. It's been there a very long time. It blends into the hillside, so many of us may not realize it's up there. But its design is tired, it needs help, it's leaking a bit, and that's a critical issue. So we want to capture that water, we want to restore the facilities and make them ready for the next generations. That's coming. That's an $8.4 million project. It's currently in design. The bid advertisement is coming out soon. Again, we talked about the critical investment to our water system to maintain that so that we have water support in case of a devastating wildfire, and certainly to keep that clear stuff, not white, that's milk, coming out of your faucet when you turn the faucet. Glendora Avenue water and street improvements. From Gladstone, just up the street, to down the street, to Route 66, just up the street. An estimated $15 million project. 1 mile of water replacement, 300,000 feet of pavement resurfacing, ADA compliant curbs and gutters, some signage, traffic signal modifications. That's all currently in design. Oh, and in case you didn't notice, there's this little thing just north of us called a storm drain, the Big Dalton Wash, that goes right through there. All these utilities go under that. So we have to figure out how to just go under. We can't bridge across it. The Corps of Engineers would not like that. Another project, the Cypress Avenue water and street improvements, $5.4 million. 7 streets, 8,300 linear feet of asphalt and water pipe replacement, 3,000 square feet of pavement. Construction looking to begin late 2026. Colorado Avenue water and street improvements. Again, $5.4 million, 8 streets, 8,500 linear feet of water pipe replacement, another 300,000 feet of pavement. Again, construction looking to begin the end of 2026. These are not just construction projects. They're the backbones of a safe, reliable, and resilient Glendora. Water infrastructure is not glamorous, but it is everything. Remember the saying, he who has water is king. And water's for fighting, that stuff in the corners for having fun. The water's all important. We need to preserve that. It serves our taps, our fire hydrants, keeps the community protected against any potential disasters. In closing, during these times of planning, revitalizing, and delivery for our futures, we're experiencing a level of community engagement that is good. We need to welcome this energy and awareness. I encourage us all to listen, ask questions, learn the facts, challenge and discern misinformation, and join the team toward productive, constructive solutions. Complaining is easy. Changing and making a difference in our community is where the work is. We're a community of incredible volunteerisms, passion toward programs for our youth, our seniors, our businesses, and our neighbors. If you're not ready to be on this team, consider joining it. Let's make a difference. Glendora, we are a city that plans, invests, and delivers. We are a city that takes care of our most valuable neighbors while protecting the quality of life that makes this community special. We're a city that is rebuilding, not just our streets and pipes, but our future. The work is not done, it never is. But tonight I can tell you with confidence the state of our city is strong, our direction is clear, and our best days are ahead of us together as we are refining our next generation, guided by the community, built for tomorrow. Thank you very much. And at this time, I'd like to invite up Moises Lopez, Assistant City Manager. He will introduce the discussion panel, and they will welcome your questions. And you will get honest answers, I assure you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor. If I could invite the panelists up now, make their way up to the stage. And if you've got at your tables, there were forms. If you wrote down a question, wanted us to take a look at it and provide answers, please raise your hand. We'll come around and pick them up. We've got staff that'll go around and collect them. So we're going to take about 20 minutes or so to have our panel answer some of the questions that you wrote. We will be drafting responses to every single question we've received tonight, so if we don't get a chance to hear a response directly from the panelists right now during this Q&A session, we're going to be posting it on our website so you get a chance to take a look at that probably within a week. Also, at the conclusion of our Q&A, all the staff members are going to stay in their respective areas, so there'll be opportunities for all of you to continue engaging with them and asking some of the questions in case we didn't get a chance to answer them tonight. So with that, I'll start with introductions. We're going to go in alphabetical order. Tiffany Chu, our Economic Development and Housing Manager. Eric Dermeyer, our Human Services Supervisor. Sean McPherson, our Assistant Director for Community Development. Chris Stabio, Captain with the Glendora Police Department. Save all the hard questions for him. Valerie Velasquez Santoya, our Assistant Public Works Director. And last but not least, Paul Zampiello, our Assistant Public Works Director for Water. I'm sorry. I did skip you, didn't I? Apologies. Annie Warner, our Interim Director for the Recreation and Human Services Department. All right, first question, this one's come to you, Valerie. We've got a number of questions about the condition of our streets, and the most popular question we receive, when are you going to pave my street? So this one specifically asks, she has the pavement condition index memorized, so she'll be able to tell you exactly when that's programmed. But this question is specific to Grand Avenue to Citrus Avenue on Route 66. When is it going to be resurfaced or repaved?
Okay, I will have to get to my booth and take a look and see what that is, but I will give you some general information with our streets. So last year we went ahead and did the pavement management plan update, went ahead and analyzed every street in the city, so we will have that information in that report. And with that, we came out with the pavement condition index average for the city, which, as mentioned by the mayor, is 63. Our goal is to raise that to 70, and when we're selecting which street we do, we want to be strategic in selecting those streets, and the way we do that is, number one, we want to go ahead and preserve our streets. It's much more cost-effective to keep our streets in good condition. It will cost us about $1 to preserve our streets as compared to $6 to $10 to reconstruct. So we need to do a balance of preserving the streets that are in good condition, as well as leveraging other projects as we do with water. So for instance, we'll be working on Colorado, Cypress, Glendora, which will be a combination of water and street. So we'll have some reconstruction in that effort. So we'll be doing about 1 million square feet, as mentioned earlier. So it's a combination of preservation as well as reconstruction. I apologize, I don't know Grand off the top of my head, but I'd be happy to look into that for you. Another thing to keep in mind is that we need to make sure that if we know that there's a water project that needs to be done, but it's not quite in the near future, we don't want to do a street that we're going to have to come back shortly after to tear up and do a water project. So we need to be very careful and strategic in how we plan that.
Thanks, Valerie. Along those lines, and the mayor alluded to it as part of his speech, the city receives funding from a variety of sources. And so this question is kind of trying to address that question. So in South Glendora, west of Sunflower, north of Gladstone, what funds were used to add ramps on the sidewalks? And the follow-up question to that is, why was the above prioritized over repairs to the street?
Okay, so on that area, top of my head, I'm going to assume that's a community development block grant. And with that, we are, as mentioned, it is a grant that we receive, and it is limited into certain census tracts with certain income limitations. And so we need to go ahead and take care of streets within those areas. And so that's where the funds came to fund that. With regards to why the street wasn't done, I'll have to go back if you want to stop by and check with me, unless Moises, you could stop by my booth and I'll check into that for you.
Sure, and like I mentioned earlier, we'll prepare a written response to all of these questions that we're going to post on our website too, so we'll give you more specific answers if you didn't get a chance to talk to Valerie tonight. But it's fair to say of the multiple funding sources that we receive, not all of those funding sources can be used for anything. They're largely restricted. So as Valerie mentioned, using community development block grant money, there's a whole book about the things that we can use it on and what we can't use it on. And in many ways, in many instances, we have to compile a little bit from every funding source to be able to do a complete street. So it adds a little complexity to that particular process. But thank you for that, Valerie. I think this question's to you, Tiffany or Sean. What types of development do you think Glendora needs most?
Thank you for the microphone, Tiffany. Well, I think that's an interesting question. I think if the state of California has any say, which they do more and more these days, the answer to the question would probably be housing. As everybody is well aware, the state is going through a housing and affordability crisis. So I think housing is probably something that would always be in demand. But if I were to kind of think of some of the questions that we get in our department or at the counter, I know that a lot of folks are always looking for that fine dining experience for the kind of next restaurant to bring to town. I know for all of us, all of our families here in Glendora, we're always looking for that place to go and spend time with our families. So I think while there's that push for housing, I think there's also kind of an equal push to create destinations with some new retailers and restaurants.
So a little of everything.
Little everything, that's right.
Perfect. Tiffany, anything you want to add?
Sure, I can add on the housing component. The city is in negotiations with Mercy Housing to develop an affordable housing project at what we call the Dale property. This is south of the cemetery and north of Arrow Highway between Barranca and Grand. And so this is proposed about a 74-unit affordable housing project. We've actually got boards, and our partner Mercy Housing is here if you'd like to learn more about it.
Tiffany, could you talk a little bit about what you and your team are doing to help, the owners of existing shopping centers attract some of the types of businesses and restaurant opportunities that I think some of our residents would enjoy?
Sure. We're in active conversation with all of our shopping centers with vacancies to try to encourage them to either redevelop or re-tenant their spaces into businesses and restaurants that the community is desiring. So we are talking with the real estate brokers, the property owners. We're also out there at conferences and real estate events trying to put Glendora on the map.
Thank you, Tiffany. This question, I think, is on the top of a lot of people's minds. So this one's coming to you, Eric and Captain Stabio. In surrounding areas, we've seen homeless activities follow the metro. How are we combating this in Glendora?
Say that first part again. Follow the.
In surrounding areas or surrounding communities, we're seeing homeless activities follow the metro. So homeless activities in and around the A-line station. So what are we doing to combat this here in Glendora?
Our street outreach team has started to prioritize kind of a proactive approach like we've taken throughout all the city by being present where we think homelessness activity may be, or responding reliably and consistently to where we already see that it is. In anticipation of the metro line concerns that we know most of the community has, the outreach team has gone by multiple times a day. It's just made it part of its daily routine to do so. If there are individuals that are around the area, we receive referrals all throughout from all the sources throughout the city, and the team responds to them right away. Most of the time, we're kind of second to the police response. The police have been very proactive to that, so I'll kind of stop just for the sake of time and hand it over to Captain Stabia.
So we actually address this on a daily basis. We have not only our community impact team officers on the platforms and in those areas probably multiple times per day, but we also have a very, very knowledgeable set of community impact officers. And when I say that, what I'm trying to say is that they know our unsheltered population. Because they were able to reduce our unsheltered population so greatly, they know who generally tends to stay in and around the city of Glendora. They know their names, they know their problems, they know their challenges, and they know where they have resources for these folks and what they may expect and accept. They also know the folks that are not necessarily from Glendora, so we may drive by and not necessarily be able to pick someone out that isn't a unsheltered person in Glendora, but they absolutely can. They know who stays here and who doesn't, and they proactively go out and address these folks, find out how they got to Glendora. Sometimes it's from the metro, sometimes it's not, and they assist them in getting back to where they want to go, because oftentimes when they come in on the light rail line, they don't even know where they are, and we'll help them get back to where they want to go, get them some resources. That's where Eric and his team come in, but they address this on a daily basis.
Actually, the next one's coming up to you, so don't let go of that microphone. So,
I'm not out of the woods yet.
I'm seeing a lot of people riding electric scooters and bicycles on our sidewalks and in our streets. What are we doing to ensure there's pedestrians and driver safety?
So this is something that we've been working on at the police department and actually with Valerie as well. There's a matter that's going to be going to council here in the next couple of weeks that's going to address this from a legislative perspective. From the enforcement perspective, we do a variety of different things. We start out at the high schools and the middle schools, and this is where our SROs come in, and they are just absolutely instrumental in the educational component of ensuring traffic safety and kids on scooters or e-bikes, first of all, know what the law is, and second of all, know how to be safe. Our SROs are at the bike racks at the middle schools just about every single day. They sit down and talk to the kids that are bringing e-bikes into school. They talk to them about what the laws are and what they're allowed to do and what bikes they're allowed to ride and what bikes they're not allowed to ride. That helps educate the kids that are on e-scooters, and they will follow that up and talk to the parents. So if they talk to 5 kids at the bike rack on a particular day, they'll follow it up, give a call to the parents, educate the parents to make sure that that information that they're passing on to the child is making it to the parents who are likely making the decision to allow their child on a e-bike, whether it be something that they are allowed to ride or not allowed to ride. From the enforcement perspective, we have taken some steps to make sure that our officers are aware of what the law allows, and in some cases, in the sake of e-bikes, what it doesn't allow. We enforce where we can, but recognize the limitations of our municipal code and the vehicle code as it sits right now. So a lot of that is also education as opposed to writing a ticket.
Perfect. The next one's going to stay in that kind of area for Eric. Eric, talk a little bit about what we do comprehensively as a city to address homelessness, and what do you believe is the right balance between enforcement and providing services to our unsheltered residents?
That's a big question that we don't have multiple days to answer. So just so everyone knows, this is a question, if anyone has asked this and they could answer it in 20 seconds, they're lying to you or they're leaving out 90% of the factors. It's a very complicated issue. What the city is doing is even difficult to answer in a short period of time because we're doing a lot. Like I mentioned, we have a very proactive outreach team that are boots on the ground Monday through Friday. It's a full-time team. There's 2 of them. One is a substance use specialist himself with his own lived experience and all the knowledge and wisdom and resources and network that comes along with that. The other is a housing navigator that has her own special way of connecting with very distinct subpopulations of unsheltered individuals. On my end, I'm helping to organize the network of providers and resources and just community resources that we have throughout the county, making connections with our city neighbors, making connections with housing providers, recuperative care providers, doing research that I can pass down to our outreach team and make sure that they're going into the field with the biggest toolbox full of tools that they can use. Every unsheltered person's experience is unique to them, so their tools that we're going to use are going to be unique to them, which means that if we're going to offer them anything, we kind of have to be experts in everything, or at least an expert enough to be able to guide them on how to take the next step, which is a really difficult job, and it's asking a lot of a very small team. There's 2 outreach members. Myself, Debbie, our lead of this department, the community impact team. That just expands the team just a little bit, but that's just half a dozen, maybe a dozen people max that are working on this issue that is way beyond Glendora. It's way beyond the state of California. It's an economic issue. It's a housing issue. It's an incarceration issue. It's a justice issue, mental health. All these factors come into it, and we kind of have to be little mini experts in everything and know how to talk to everyone that's been going through all kinds of experiences. So with that said, we did apply for funding from the county from the Measure A sales tax, and we have extra tools in our toolbox now. Tools for interim housing, tools for rental assistance, for landlord incentives, problem-solving funds that we can kind of use as a flexible source of income, or flexible source of funds to help problem solve someone's homelessness. And if it means buying them a plane ticket to reunite with family out of state, we can do that. We can use it for short-term rental assistance to keep someone from entering into homelessness in the first place. So anytime there are resources, financial or otherwise, we do try to take advantage of that. And we're only limited by the number of hours in the day. So I don't know if I answered all aspects of the question.
I think you provided a very good synopsis. And in fact, I'm going to take this opportunity for a shameless plug. Eric and I and our communications team sat and actually recorded a podcast trying to provide as broad an overview, not just of what we do here in Glendora in response to homelessness, but navigate and talk about some of the issues and challenges that we face in kind of addressing this issue, not just here in Glendora, but broadly speaking throughout LA County, from a funding perspective, from a regulatory perspective, from an access to resource perspective. And so you'll be seeing that posted on our website and through our social media platforms over the next couple of days, if it hasn't already been done. Greg is shaking his head. Yes, it's already been posted. So please take a moment, if you've got about an hour, to listen to us talk about what's working, what's not working in our community, and all the rules that we're subjected to. So it's a pretty good discussion about the complexity of homelessness with a more specific detail here in Glendora.
You were talking about enforcement. I remember the other part. Okay, so.
Encampment remediation, talk about that.
Okay. So we have 2 different jobs me representing the social services part of the city's approach, and Captain Stabia representing the enforcement, the police department's approach. I believe that the city of Glendora works really well complementary with each other. I feel that both sides have to communicate closely to each other and to collaborate with each other, and I think the city does a really good job with that. I feel full trust in our community impact team and their ability to do their part of their job, and I feel like the trust is mutual coming towards our outreach team and social services. So the individuals experiencing homelessness are there for a number of reasons, like I mentioned, and at the end of the day, it's no one's goal for them to be out in the street. It's no one's goal for them to remain in an encampment. I would say it's not their goal either, regardless of what the public perception is. But being able to connect to an individual and understand their trauma, understand their choices, understand what has led them to remain in their encampment for as long as it's been, that takes time. That takes a unique approach that you can't generalize to everyone. If you approach any individual with a generalization, I already know who you are, they're going to shut down immediately. I could do that to anyone in this room and the conversation will be over. So the community impact team has that same approach too. They approach the people on the street as individuals, and that's why they have such a good rapport with so many of the clients that we have. I would say Officer Meeker, Escarpe, Paulson, Sergeant Ward, they know these individuals in and out. They know their personal, their strengths, their weaknesses. They know what they need. They know their families most of the time. So all that to say, when we want to see change in anybody, you have to join them. You have to come alongside them. And it's not just the social services aspect of our homeless team, but it's also the law enforcement that does that well. I haven't seen other departments give that kind of humanistic approach to enforcement. And those are conversations that when you've witnessed an officer do that well, it's impressive. To see Officer Meeker, for example, talk to someone about an enforcement issue, a violation, a warrant, the fact that they're illegally camping on a property, while also getting them to create an appointment with us for the DMV, or talk about mental health services or substance use services, all within the same 2-minute span. We can all kind of do that together because of how much we trust each other. If Officer Meeker or Officer Paulson or Escarpe makes a referral to our team, they know that we'll follow up on it. We'll provide those resources and we'll be there. We'll spend the extra minutes to provide that humanistic approach, and vice versa. There have been times that we've reached out to the police department. Is there any way that you guys can help us out with this client's warrant? It seems to be a barrier to their housing or to employment. Would you be willing to come out today and meet with them? And they'll say yes every time. So,
Good. Appreciate that response. Thank you. Next question is actually for Annie. Inquiring minds want to know, what are the next exciting community events being hosted or put on by the Recreation and Human Services Department?
Perfect. Well, coming up in May, it's a busy month. We will have a bike month. So on May 16th, you can go on a bike ride. I believe it starts at 10 a.m. and they're meeting at Finkbeiner Park. We will also have our cultural festival on Saturday, May 30th, downtown, south of Foothill, north of Carroll. It'll be our 3rd year offering the cultural festival. There's great food vendors, many different cultures represented, and performances on the stage, a beer garden. We're gearing up for summer, so our concerts and movies in the park. We still have spots for a dirt camp available. And another exciting thing is a community shuttle. Will begin the first week of June. It'll run on the weekends only in the beginning from 10 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. It has a lot of great spots. You can go to downtown, Sprouts, hit up the golf course, go to Glendora AMC, and many more. So it'll run, as I mentioned, 10 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. And every 30 minutes, a bus will come to the stop, and we'll be utilizing our 3 new electric buses. They're really cute. They're little mini orange buses if you haven't seen them already. So if you are trying to save money on gas, take advantage of the community shuttle and get around town.
And how much does it cost?
$1 for people under the age of 60. I believe it's 50 cents if you're over 60, and 75 cents if you're a kid.
Perfect. Paul, the next one's up for you. A question about the status of our water infrastructure. The question relates to what happened at the intersection of Amelia and Country Club Drive, but maybe you can kind of transition into the water infrastructure assessment.
Okay, yeah. I do want to start by saying this light is impressively blinding, and I invite everybody to come up and experience that. But, no, great question. Last week, we did experience a large water leak. It was a section of pipe, a cast iron pipe that failed. It was approximately about a 3-foot section of the pipe actually blew out, is the best way to describe it, causing an immense amount of damage to the street, lifting it in some areas up to 2 feet. We had a full response. The calls started coming in early Monday afternoon. Our full entire team from conservation, production, and all of the distribution were dispatched. I was out there. We even had the street division out there helping. We were able to isolate the main in less than 40 minutes, which is, given the size, it was a 12-inch water main. So we were able to get our contractor, our crews started working on that. By about 7 o'clock, that call came in the evening, about 2 o'clock. About 7 o'clock, we were able to have a full assessment, be excavating. We got the repairs completed by 11 and had the water back on by 3 o'clock in the morning. And I think that plus all of the water quality checks that we did, making sure to check on residents, notifying them through the office. It was a full testament. It was all hands on deck. We ended up replacing 15 feet of that water main. It wasn't necessarily what we considered to be excessively old. It wasn't identified in our water master plan as having an extensive history of leaks, nor was there any high risk. It turned out that there was a fitting right there at our joint, and that looks like it might have failed at that. But what that means is that we continue to do an assessment of the water system. We have a water master plan that we developed back in 2023. It's quite comprehensive, looking at all aspects of the water system, from the water distribution system, water production, where our water's coming in at a regional level, and some of the contaminants and treatment that we need to assess. And so what that plan did, or that master plan gave us, the roadmap of identifying the CIPs both on the facility and the distribution side. It did a full assessment. It took things into consideration like leak history. We go out and we do a repair, we document that. We did notice that there were prioritized areas, and that's, as we see with Cypress and Colorado, those were areas that we had excessive amounts of leaks. The pipeline in those areas not only were there excessive leaks, but the pipeline is at its useful life. It's fatiguing. It's starting to fail. And some of that predictive modeling that we did in that master plan identified that. So with that, and as Valerie talked about, trying to couple that to be most useful with our funds to get streets and water completed at the same time, where we don't want to look foolish where we're going back and tearing up a brand new street. That's challenging because unfortunately some of the worst streets are where we have some of the least problematic water mains. So it's a balance that we continue to work on the public works side.
Perfect. And if anybody has any questions about the CIP projects that the mayor listed as part of his presentation, or the things that we have planned for next year and actually 3 years down the line, if you go to our website and type capital improvement plans, we have a capital improvement projects. We have a page set up with all of that information. So I think we've hit our limit for the Q&A session. I appreciate everybody being here and answering these questions on the spot. If you did not, again, hear your question answered, we will provide a written response and post that on our website. We'll make sure that we distribute that information through our social media channels as well. The event is not over. I want to encourage you to continue engaging with all the city staff members to follow up on some of the specific questions that you might have had tonight, or if you've got any other questions, we're all going to be here and available, and we'll be here as long as we need to answer as many of the questions that we can. So appreciate everyone's attendance and encourage everybody to continue engaging with amongst yourselves, eat some more food, have a drink, and talk to city staff. Thank you all. Good.